Because if you think about what laziness is, it's an unwillingness to expend energy in order to get an outcome. It doesn't mean that you don't want to get the outcome. It's just you're not willing to expend that energy or the same amount of energy as somebody else in order to get it. Now, isn't that what efficiency is all about? Hi, and welcome to Helping You Perform. I'm your host, Paul Teasdale. Over a career working with high-performing teams from across the globe, including 7 years working with Formula One team McLaren, I've learned a lot about what it takes to drive results. In this weekly podcast series, I'm going to be bringing you tips, tricks, and insights from the world of Formula One that you can apply for your organisation for your own high performance. Enjoy. Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Helping You Perform, where I bring my tips, tricks, insights and stories from the world of Formula One and other high performing teams and help you accelerate your own performance. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode 56, where I focused on International Women's Day 2024 and that theme of invest in women, accelerate progress. So have a think about that topic for yourself. What can you do in your organization to invest in women to accelerate progress? And go back and have a listen to that episode if you haven't already. In this week's episode 57, I wanted to reframe something. So it's something that's always been a little bit of a bugbear of mine, which is the term laziness is seen as a really negative thing. And I think there's opportunities to reframe that thinking and find positive things that come out of it. Now, this came about through some conversations around, use of technology. I was talking to somebody recently about ChatGPT and how is it just driving laziness in what we're doing in work. And we had similar conversations when we were building some of the proof of concepts and some of the technologies for decision support when I was working in McLaren for some of the clients out there. So often we have to have this think for ourselves, is laziness really a negative thing? And how can we reframe it? So one of the ways I've always liked to do this is to reframe it in the terms of efficiency of effort. Because if you think about what laziness is, it's an unwillingness to expend energy in order to get an outcome. It doesn't mean that you don't want to get the outcome. It's just you're not willing to expend that energy or the same amount of energy as somebody else in order to get it. Now, isn't that what efficiency is all about? And there's a great quote from Bill Gates, which is, I would choose a lazy person to do a difficult job every time because that lazy person will find an easy way to get the outcome. And that is ultimately what we want to try and think about is if laziness is actually efficiency of effort, then how can we use that? How can we identify what we would previously see as a really negative, lazy behavior in our organization and start to say, right, how can we turn this into a positive? How can we get the good stuff out of this? Much as in project management, and a lot of the thought goes into identify those people who are shouting out the most and are resisting the change the most and bring them into the team in order to hear their voice and make sure they get heard, but also use their thoughts to drive performance, because it's those naysayers that are going to give you solid feedback that you can do something about. Similarly, if you identify those lazy behaviors, you can start to see, right, well, they're still looking to get an outcome, but they're trying to cut corners. Now, cutting corners can be a bad thing. You've got to be very careful around it. But ultimately, where are the opportunities to cut those corners and do something different? Think about getting an outcome in a completely different way so that the business gets the results it's after and you don't expend so much energy. So actually you get a double whammy in terms of opportunities to spend more time on other things as well. So there are three key areas when it comes to efficiency of effort. First step, make sure you define the results that you're trying to drive and be very clear on that. Second step, find the simplest method of getting from where you are now to those desired results. And third step, I've just saved you 33% because there isn't a third step. You've already done it. So that is a way of identifying where are those lazy activities, where are the people that you see in your organization, the behaviors that you see in your organization that with a negative hat on, you look at being lazy. How can you turn that round and reframe it so you identify those opportunities for being efficient with your effort? Yes, still make sure that the outcome is achieved. And yes, make sure that is done in a safe and legal and sort of moral way as well. Make sure you've got all those boundaries for yourself. But identify within those boundaries, what's the simplest and least energy usage to get me from A to B? And that way you can identify in your organization those ways to be more efficient with your efforts, free up your time, work on bigger and better and sexier projects, and use things like ChatGPT, use the technologies that are out there to find ways to take some of that effort out and still get the results that you're trying to drive. If this has inspired any thinking for you, if you want to challenge me on this, if you want to have a conversation around it, please do reach out. Go to www.paulteasdale.co.uk and maybe we could be lazy together and figure out some outputs that we could achieve in the simplest possible way. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Helping You Perform podcast. If you found value in this episode, please take a moment to like, share, or review the podcast. You can reach out to me at any time, either through LinkedIn or through my website at www.paulteasdale.co.uk. I look forward to speaking to you in the next episode.